Welcome back. I think we've got Eoin Sheahan. Eoin, are you there?
I am indeed. How are you getting on, lads?
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa, Eoin.
Konnichiwa, that's right, yeah. Absolutely. It's the only word I've got. We were listening to Rory Best a little bit earlier on, and he's got a million words. He addressed the Japanese crowd here in Chiba like an expert Japanese speaker. So he's flying it, and the team are flying it, it seems, when it comes to Japanese.
Have you got some...
We've got some video here of Rory Best, who was given a traditional Japanese gift by the locals here in Chiba. And basically this gift is a symbol of success, that the thing has two eyes, and you make a pledge to yourself, you make a goal, and you colour in that eye to represent the pledge. And then when you complete the goal, you go back and you paint the second eye. But as you'll see here in just a moment on screen, the marker didn't actually work for Rory Best to colour in that eye. So I'm not sure is that a bad omen or not when it comes to the Ireland team here. There was a traditional dance here. There was a musical performance. We've had people come up and welcome the Ireland team. The mayor of the town here came up and welcomed the Ireland team to the place. So that's what happened today in Chiba, a welcome ceremony for the Ireland team. Apparently where they're training out here in Chiba is state-of-the-art facilities, or so the mayor was telling us. He says that the grass has been checked many, many times, and always it has scored a top-class scoring. I don't know what that means, or I don't know what... Kieran, you might know a thing or two.
Yeah, that's probably testing from World Rugby. They would have tested the pitches out there for games, and I presume they would have tested the training pitches as well. So I'd say he's referring to the pitch being in top level. Rory has got a marker that's working there, I think.
Well, when it comes to Irish training camps in this part of the world, we've obviously had a nightmare in 2002 when it came to a pitch that felt like a car park. So it's good to hear that this particular pitch there's plenty of grass on it anyway, so the mayor said. So there was a couple of media opportunities after today as well. A massive scrum involving Johnny Sexton afterwards. Here to Johnny, as we'll hear.
Eoin, obviously you're not there too long, but I've been really intrigued by all the videos and stuff I've seen with the different teams arriving, the welcomes they've given. What's the feeling on the ground there? Are all the local towns and local people really kind of excited by the potential of this World Cup?
Not at all, actually, Alan. It's actually difficult to know that there is a World Cup a week away. I'm sure it'll be the case when you fly over, when all the Irish fans fly over next week. They'll be coming over more Wednesday, Thursday direction, by all accounts. And at the moment, there is plenty of advertising. There are plenty of ads you'll see in the subway stations and all that sort of thing. But in terms of actual a feeling that this thing is going to get taken over by the Rugby World Cup, that is not the case whatsoever. It's just too big a city, Tokyo especially, to get taken over by the World Cup. Apparently, when they go further south, that will be the case. When they go down to Shizuoka for their second game against Japan, that'll be the place when the Rugby World Cup really engulfs the city. But for the time being, unless you go to these Rugby World Cup events and these press events, it is hard to tell whether or not this is the right place for the World Cup. As I mentioned there a moment ago, Sexton was speaking after the welcome ceremony here, and I spoke to him.
Johnny, to what extent do you now start focusing on Scotland as an individual task rather than the World Cup as a whole?
Now, yeah, we never spoke about the World Cup in pre-season, and now we're here. We'll focus fully on Scotland. They're a very, very good team. You saw that through the Six Nations, most of the Six Nations, they were a little bit unlucky against us and against Wales, where they arguably could have won both games, and they should have won the England game as well. So we know the threat that they pose, and we will start tomorrow really to analyse them like we do, and try and be as well prepared as we can.
How important is it for you to get the mind away from rugby over the next week, because camps like this can be intense sometimes?
No, I'm looking forward to we had a few days off before we left. We got to spend some time with our families before we're away for a long time, so we had that switch off time. This week is about work and about preparing, so there won't be too much downtime.
And then in your own case, do you feel you're up to match speed now after the last day? Obviously you got taken off fairly early, which would suggest Joe is fairly happy with where you're at.
We'll find out on Sunday. You never know. Everything will be judged on results and performances after Sunday, so I feel physically very good. Obviously I would have liked to play maybe another game, but a couple of issues prevented me from playing that one extra game. I think I was only going to play two. I'm happy with the prep physical prep that I did all summer, and then now I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this World Cup.
Translation? スコットランドに向けてどのようなお気持ちですかという質問です。
Johnny Sexton there speaking afterwards. As you can hear, there's a bit of to and froing with the translators at every press conference so far here in Japan. One of the other questions that came in actually, and the second part of this answer here from Johnny Sexton is very interesting, but it starts off when he's asked by a journalist about the reception he's got in Japan so far.
Johnny, what did you think of the reception you got here today, and are you looking forward to the atmosphere and the crowds in Japan?
Yeah, it was a great reception today. You know, Japan is renowned for its hospitality and its welcomes, and we were looked after unbelievably well when we arrived at the hotel and here today. Second part of the question, yeah, the atmosphere. I've looked at the stadium. I've seen pictures of it. I've been in the stadium yet, but it's 70,000 people, and every second person I spoke to in Ireland before I left was coming over. So I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be very special. It always is at World Cups for Ireland. I think the Irish always travel, and I'm sure we'll have our fair share of support there on Sunday.
And what did you think of Rory's efforts with the painting of the eyeball?
It was good. I thought it was excellent, yeah.
Just on that, Johnny, one of my messages, you have to make a goal, obviously, when you fill out one eye and fill out the other eye when the goal is achieved. Is the goal for all of you to win the World Cup?
Yeah, again, it's not something that we've spoke about, but as long as I've played any sport, you want to win every competition that you're in, and so I don't think we're coming in here saying we want to make this stage or this stage. We're taking a step at a time, and the first step for us is Scotland, and it's our biggest challenge, you know, that we have to face because it's our next one. And you know, if we can get through that, then Japan will be our biggest game, and we'll work our way through the tournament like that. So yeah.
Okay. And then the last question we have, it actually came from a Japanese journalist, was about the world #1 ranking and what Johnny Sexton thinks about that.
That you got first in the world ranking, how do you like it, and what's your observation on that? And second question is what's the strengths of your team? Johnny?
Yeah, I think it's if you told us after the England game that we're going to be world #1 going into the World Cup, people would have probably laughed at us. So it just shows how they can just change, you know, over the matter of a week. It's not something that we've paid too much attention to. It's probably something that we'll have a look at maybe next year when the seedings are for the next World Cup. But at the moment, it's not something that bothers. I think New Zealand were #1 for 3 years. So if you take it over the 4 years, you know, they're probably still favourites, but it's not something that we speak about a lot.
まず一つ目の質問ですけれども、そのイングランド
Good stuff, Owen. That's you looks like you're on top of your game out there, but when you won't be on top of your game is probably 2 o'clock in the morning over there when you're trying to figure out where you're going to watch the All-Ireland final with a few pints in you. Have you that figured out yet?
Sunday morning for him, yeah.
I've sorted it out here, and there is a place, and it sounds like a very tame establishment. It's called the Geronimo Shot Bar, and it's located in Roppongi district here in Tokyo. So that is showing the All-Ireland final here. As you know, a good Irish-sounding pub. I don't know why the hell they're showing it in there, but I've been tipped off that that is where I will catch the match.
If Kerry win, Owen, make sure that you give the name and address of your hotel and a taxi number or something that they send you back, that you don't get lost in Tokyo.
Yeah, I'd say you'll be doing some Geronimoing out there, I'd say, somehow. That's
just,
all.
I was just chatting to Colin Fuller, you know, the Ireland physiotherapist earlier on. He says he's going to skip the match, unfortunately. He's not. Oh, sorry, no, it's the other way around. He's going to watch the match, but I've got to be up for a Joe Schmidt press conference at 9 o'clock, so I should be the one skipping the match. So, and there'll be interest out here as well, no doubt.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I don't see you skipping the match. That's all from us this morning. Michael, thanks very much for joining us. Ellen, you're heading to Tokyo next week.
Next week, yeah. Looking forward to it.
Stay out of Geronimo Shop Bar.
Yeah, well, you'll be chatting to me next week, probably.
We'll look forward to it. That's all from us. Thanks for joining us this morning. See you next week.